Historically, the pentatonic scale has drawn the attention of many bass players as a staple to use in their improvisations. This is partly due to the way that pentatonic patterns are so compatible with the instrument and also their gravity-like tendencies to outline diatonic harmony. This lesson is not a beginner's guide to pentatonic scales, but rather assumes that you already have a working knowledge of some pentatonic ideas in your playing, and you're just looking for some different ways to apply them to your bass lines. So if we take a minor pentatonic scale, which consists of a root, a flat 3, 4, 5, and a flat 7, we can then apply that over any minor 7th chord with the same root note of that scale. However, where it starts to really get cool is when we take that same scale and start superimposing it from different degrees of the scale. So for example, if we have a D minor 7th chord, and if I take that same pentatonic shape and start it from the 5th degree of the D minor 7th, the scale is going to be A, C, D, E, and G, which is the 5 flat 7 root 9 and 11 over the D minor 7 chord. Another cool choice to use is the pentatonic scale starting from the 9, which would be E minor pentatonic, which would be E, G, A, B, and D. That's going to function as the 9, the 11, 5, 13, and the root over the D minor 7 chord. I know this can be a lot to take on board, but what I want you to do is listen to how you could apply these concepts over a contemporary jazz funk groove. Check this out, then we're coming back for the breakdown. Okay, so the core idea of this groove is all based around chord tones and chromatic approach note ideas. So it starts off by going root into the flat 7, then double chromatic below the root. Then it goes down to the flat 3, and then double chromatic below the 5. So putting in context, and that's the core idea of the groove. Then on the second time around, we repeat that root into the flat 7. And then we go into this pentatonic idea, which is kind of combining a D minor pentatonic with an E minor pentatonic. And then back into the core groove. So if you looked at that idea, you can see, here's my D minor pentatonic idea. And then here's my E minor. I use that, just that little slide to outline, just really play down a E minor pentatonic scale, and then it brings me back into the root. You can really hear the coloration of that using those tensions, and it just really kind of lifts it and gives it a particular brightness that you wouldn't normally get if you just stick on the D minor pentatonic. So it's a simple idea, and you can hear from that groove that could be some of the most commercial, hardcore funk type stuff, and that groove would totally work. All those ideas. This is not like, some type of a Jocko type fusion thing. This is something that you could actually use, although it has those same principles as far as sophistication. And it's just a good example how you can use these things over more commercially minded tunes. And get away with that and make it sound musical and happening. So when we go to the second time, I play that same core groove, and then coming out of that on the second time is when I go up to my A minor pentatonic and play this idea. And then come back into the D. So coming out of the groove. So notice how I'm grouping these notes in a group of 2, 3, 4, and 7. 2, 3, 4, 7. So you can really see how that works really nicely and produces this polyrhythm effect over the actual groove. You can also hear how cool that sounds with the drum pattern that I use on the track. So then we repeat the whole thing again, exactly as I've just demonstrated. And then on the last time, we do the same idea over that E minor pentatonic. And it brings us back here. So it's the same exact idea. Notice how I use both on that A minor pentatonic lick up here, I use the open G to get up there, to position myself up there. So it's like a pickup note. And I do the same thing for when I do play the E. And also I use that open A to bring me back to the D. And I do the same thing over the E. I use the open A to bring me back to that D. So all in all, we have this very cool effect which is going on. And also, it also produces a cool thematic thing. If you think about that idea, especially the polyrhythm idea, that I've used it in one context over the A minor pentatonic, and then the second time round I sequence that. And what I mean by sequencing is I take that same idea and I play it over a different tonality, which is the E minor, but it's the same actual thematic idea. So that's a very cool way of taking a theme and then using it again, but sequencing it into a different tonality. And you know, here it's all fairly straightforward and diatonic to the D minor 7, but what's really cool about it is the use of chord tensions and adding that cool richness and color to the original just bog standard D minor 7 groove. Pentatonic patterns can be a powerful source for coming up with a plethora of applications, but a great tip is not limiting yourself to just using pentatonic ideas. A great solo that utilizes pentatonic ideas is a tune called Reach For It by George Duke. I'll link that just over here. Check out Byron Miller's bass solo, which is really a pentatonic classic. If you really want to go much deeper into mixing different concepts with pentatonic ideas, then you've got to pick up my book, 50 Essential Jazz Funk Lines, and I'm going to link that up here as well. This is not a basic book, but it's chock full of great lines in the style of Hadrian Farode, John Patitucci, Jeff Berlin, Michael Brecker, and Matt Garrison. If you're interested in becoming a better improvising bass player and learning great musical content from arpeggios to grooves, then subscribe to my channel now. If you like this video today, then be sure to support my channel by giving it a big thumbs up. And if you really like this video, then please check out my books, my membership website, and my Skype lessons. Until next time, practice smart, work hard, and play creatively.